Hello everyone, my name is Abigail and this is my son Duke who has found his voice in the past 2 weeks or so, I would say. Anyway, I wanted to make a video about newborn essentials that I used pretty religiously in the first 3 months. I know it can be overwhelming, especially when you are a new mom and you want to have things that are only necessary. You don't want all the fluff and to buy, a ton of crazy things you're never going to use, especially if you're on a budget. I will also list out everything in a blog post, so it might be a little bit easier for you to follow. But if you have any questions or want me to go into more detail about anything, I'm happy to do so. Just let me know in the comments. But also, it should be noted that I have never done this before, so it could be a little rough, but here we are. We're trying, we're learning. It's all we can do. And honestly, I don't even know if anyone is actually going to watch this, but new mom brain is really real. And if I watch this for my second child to remind myself what I might need doubles of, then so be it. And I will have accomplished a lot. I should also note that it is raining here pretty significantly, so you could probably hear that in the background.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it is raining so hard where I live right now.
Before we get started, I do want to make a little disclaimer. Someone said this to me when I was kind of stressing about getting everything ready before my baby came, and really at the end of the day, all your baby is going to need is you, your love, a safe place to be, and that's it. So don't stress too hard. That advice, brought me a lot of solace. So I hope it does the same for you. And, just disregard this entire video I'm about to film. Let's go ahead and start with blankets, swaddles, and burp cloths. Here we go. So I think it is universal for people to receive so many swaddles and blankets, especially for their first babies. They're cute and easy to buy. So I think you're gonna probably buy some blankets yourself, and you're also going to receive a lot of blankets at your baby shower or just random gifts. But even though I have a ton, I really find myself only using 2 swaddles, 2 blankets, and 1 type of burp cloth. The 2 blankets I love so much are these soft Serenoni mini receiving blankets. I have one in green and one in beige, I guess. I love these because, one, Duke is a winter baby, so we definitely need something a little bit more substantial and something a little bit more warm, I would say. But those are super absorbent. I like having 2 because if one gets dirty, I can swap one out. They're also machine washable and they have stayed soft this whole time, which I love. Also, not all soft blankets are equal, so I've learned. For example, this little draft soft blanket is great and it's really soft and comfortable, but it's so heavy. So you already have a heavy baby, and then when you're rocking them with the blanket, this just adds to the weight. So those Serenoni ones are extremely lightweight and I really, really like them. Also, when I was pregnant, I was obsessing over soft things, especially at the end of my pregnancy. I was kind of freaking out that I didn't have enough soft items to wrap my newborn in. So definitely that's something that I think is a common thought. You just want soft things, and anything scratchy you just aren't going to end up using. So can't recommend those Serenoni blankets enough. Okay, next is swaddles. So like I said, I have a ton of swaddles, baskets and baskets, but I only use 2. And they are these swaddles I found on Amazon called Mushy, I think. And I have it in this cute little rocket print and then also a starry print. But I love these so much because they're super lightweight. They're a great size for swaddling. We actually used these a lot when he was a newborn to swaddle him in his sleep. But now we just use them to lay him down places. We sometimes use them even as a changing mat, pseudo burp cloth, you name it. I keep one in my car, one in my diaper bag. One's always floating around. But really, out of all of the swaddles that I do have, these two are the ones I always gravitate towards. They're really thin, but I've washed them 1,000 times in these 3 months, and they've held up their quality. I think they're $18 on Amazon, so really, really recommend those. And then for proper birth cloths, I think every single mom has these ones. These are also an Amazon find. These are great. They come in a pack of 10. Also have washed these 1,000 times. They're soft. They're great because you can just throw them over your shoulder. And they're a great size, especially when they're newborn. They're not like throwing up a large amount. So this is perfect. I keep one of these in my diaper bag. They're, scattered in nooks and crannies across the house that you can quickly grab. Also, if you're wearing jeans, which I didn't wear jeans until like last week, you could just stick them in your back pocket, pull them out for quick spit up cleans. And I only have a pack of 10 and I haven't needed to buy more. So these are great. Now let's talk about sleeping, which is serendipitous because he is sleeping. So essential items, you definitely are going to need a bedside bassinet of some kind. I don't have a huge opinion on which one is best. I used a hand-me-down for my sister. We have the swivel bassinet. It works great, super simple, but do I think there are probably better ones out there? Yes. My biggest complaint is when you are lifting a newborn and a 3-month-old and, whatever size your baby is in and out of the bassinet at night and you're healing, it's just not ideal. Like your elbows feel like they're going to snap in half. Your wrists are permanently arthritic. And it's just not easy any way you slice it. So I think maybe there's some height adjustments I could figure out. But, ultimately I'm happy with what we have. What I really wanted to talk about are Moses baskets and infant loungers. So about a week before Duke was born, the DockATots and I think another type of baby lounger were deemed unsafe. And my sister had used DockATots for both of her kids and they were completely fine, but I was kind of freaking out. So I quickly bought a Moses basket and I have loved it. I definitely used the Moses basket a lot more when he was a newborn, but we've also traveled with it because we've had crazy storms here and we've had to go to my parents' house a couple times because our property flooded. So it was really easy to bring with us. It's really light. And at the end of the day, you're definitely going to want to just have something that's outside of your bedroom bassinet that, if you're in the living room and you guys are just hanging out, you guys are trying to eat dinner, you're cooking, and they're asleep, you're going to want them close. I just saw this puke right here. Perfect time to use a handy dandy burp cloth and wipe that up. Also, I totally know he's wonky in this right now, but this is just how we were able to wrap him while he was sleeping. So you win some and you lose some. But anyway, the Moses basket from Design Dua or Dua Design, I don't remember which way it is, but they are deemed safe to use for sleep because the sides are breathable, from what I understand. So that just made me feel really good. But actually now that he's so much stronger and he can move his neck, I have been using the DockATot on occasion if I'm in the room, and it's been fine so far, but to each his own. It took me a really long time to feel comfortable putting him in the DockATot because I didn't feel like he had great neck movement. So it's really just however you feel most safe and what brings you the most peace. But for daytime napping, when, you know, we don't want to put him down in his crib because, you know, they're so new and you just want them close, having some kind of place for them to sleep is really, really helpful. Moving on to nighttime swaddles. So we tried a couple things. When he was a newborn, we just swaddled him in those swaddles I showed you earlier. But as he got older, he just really he had a really big startle reflex. So he liked to have his arms down. That was the best way for him to sleep. So we found these Dreamland baby sleep sacks. And ever since we put him in this, we never took him out of it. He slept in one of these every single night. He is in the 95th percentile. So even though he's just 3 months old, he is in the 6 to 12 month size. And there is a difference. I'll show you both. But the 0 to 6 month size has these little armholes that you can button open and close. This is great for when they get a little bit older and they want access to their hands to self-soothe. But the best thing about this one is there is an internal swaddle that you can wrap their little arms in and keep them from startling themselves awake. The only difference for the 6 to 12 month one is that there is no internal swaddle and that the armholes are just open. Okay, my phone kept falling. But let's talk about nursing, feeding, all of those things. This is going to look different for every mom. Some people are going to be formula, some people are going to be breastfed, some people are going to be pumping only. Whatever works for you, that is the belief I subscribe to. So this might not be applicable, but you know, however you feed your baby, whatever works for you, that's what makes sense. So I have a Spectra breast pump that I have only taken out of the box to sanitize, but I have not used it yet in 3 months. What's worked for me is milk collection via this Haakaa and via this Medela hand pump. I have a little bit of milk in there right now, but I've been able to freeze quite a bit of milk just using those two things. So if you're unfamiliar with the Haakaa, the idea is that when you're breastfeeding, you put this on the other boob and it's going to collect your letdown. It would take multiple feeding sessions for me to fill this up to even be able to have something that I could freeze. So don't think you're just going to fill this up. Some women do, very hydrated women do. I haven't felt hydrated since I gave birth to him, despite the amount of water I drink. But I've been able to freeze bags by using those two methods. The hand pump, yikes, really helps when you're just feeling engorged and you just need a little bit of extra help. I feel like this is stronger than just something that's a little bit more passive like the Haakaa. So I would definitely recommend having those two items handy and in your house before baby comes, if you're planning on breastfeeding. Next thing I want to talk about is breastfeeding pillows and, you know, what worked for me and what I used. So you are all kinds of sore after giving birth and just figuring out how to hold your baby. You are using muscles in weird places that you've never used before. You're just beyond sore. So you definitely are going to need some extra support when you're learning how to feed, because your elbows are heavy and the baby's head is heavy. So just like the more pillows you can stuff under your body so you don't have to use any muscles, especially when you're not sleeping and you just gave birth, it's very helpful. So in the first few weeks, my husband and I used this Snuggle Me nursing pillow. I really liked it because one, it's cute. I it's cute on the couch. It's little moon shape. And it just was helpful when he was small. I could wrap it around my waist and I felt like he was supported and I was supported. But then I started to transition out of that and I ended up using just my throw pillows I had around to shove under me for support. So I would recommend going to Target and getting some Euroshams that you can one wash and then also bring into the bed and out into the living room so you constantly have support. I feel like one, they're cuter and you can have them after you're done breastfeeding or after you're done building the muscles you need to hold up your baby. But those just worked better for me than a big traditional nursing pillow. I felt more supported with big Euroshams. So I would recommend trying that as well. Also, when you sit up at night in bed and your pillows that you normally use are down, it's just nice to have an extra pillow to throw behind your head. I have a wooden bed frame. And so for the first couple nights, I was just like resting my head on the wooden bed frame and it was not comfortable. So having extra pillows around that you can just like toss everywhere, highly recommend. And I haven't heard that hack, but maybe I'm not looking in the right places. So, or I'm a genius. I don't know. Time to talk about diapering. So let's talk about diaper bags first. I have 2 diaper bags. I have this traditional one, which is the Dagne Dover one. I think these are really, really trendy and popular right now. But I also have one that, sorry, just had to adjust that. That is just a normal backpack. I forget what it's called, but it's Swedish. I will link everything. But I actually am leaning towards liking that better because while the green backpack I have is great and it's made of neoprene, it feels very babyish. There's a lot of compartments. I find the compartments inside to be kind of not practical. And even though they're meant for organization, I don't feel organized. I feel like, where did I put this thing? Which pocket is it in out of the thousands of pockets that are in here? So what's worked for me and what I am leaning towards is using my backpack that I had before pregnancy and having zipper pouches that are for diapers. I have a pouch for wipes, extra clothes, and my changing pad, and that's really it. And there's room in there to toss a swaddle and a burp cloth in. So that's what has worked for me. Like I said, I will link the 2 that I have. I still really like this green backpack, but I'm actually kind of just using it for clothes when we go somewhere. So next is this Kikaroo changing pad. I had a different changing pad on my registry, but after doing research and just thinking about it, I opted for this because it's wipeable and babies do have blowouts. He hasn't had a ton, but when he has had them, it's been really nice to just be able to slap them down somewhere, wipe them off, wipe the Kikaroo changing pad off, and it makes it just one less thing to think about. Also, I change him like everywhere, all the time, all over the place. So we probably use this 50% of the time. Then the other parts were, in the living room or in our bedroom, changing things. Which brings me to my next topic is diaper caddies. So I have this one from Design Dua or Dua Design, the same company that makes the bassinet. And this stays permanently on this dresser. I don't ever move it around. I know some people like to have those caddies and they bring them to their bedroom and they bring them to their living room. I personally don't like a bunch of diaper caddies floating around my house. So what I've found are these little $10 baskets from Target that are made by Bright Room. And they have my diapers. These diapers are not the diapers I like. My husband got the wrong ones, but we're gonna use them. But I keep wipes and diapers in here, and then it just looks like a cute basket. And I have one for my bedroom, and I have one for the living room, and they're $10. So rather than getting like a proper diaper caddy from Target or Amazon, I just like the look of this better, personally. Personal choices, you know? That's what parenting is all about. Okay, I'm trying to make this quick because it's very dark and stormy outside, and I feel like the lighting is changing rapidly, so just bear with me. But as far as like play items, tummy time things, when they're really young, they aren't really interested in like a lot of things other than you in the beginning. But now that he's gotten a little older, it's been so nice to be able to put him on the ground. And I love this mat from Linen Social. I'll put another video after this showing him with it. And then I also love this play gem I found on Amazon that's like space themed. It's really cute, and it stores easily. When they're this young, they can't see a ton, and so I didn't want something that was like super obnoxious, but I also wanted something that he would like, and he loves his. He can stay motivated, or not motivated, entertained for quite some time. I thought I would just show you the Linen Social pad and the play gem I got from Amazon. Again, you know, babies can't see a ton of color in the beginning, so I wanted something that, you know, wasn't super obnoxious, but still really fun. We also have the little Einstein, I think it's called, playmat. It's great, but it's more complicated than this, and it doesn't have as thick of padding as this Linen Social does. This is so great. I can wash it. My dogs have stepped on it multiple times, so I wash it like probably twice a week. This is also some place that I change Duke on occasion as well, but he really loves this, and it keeps him entertained for a while. And I also love it because it breaks down in stores really easily. You just basically, let's see if I can do it with one hand. Okay, I couldn't do it gracefully with just one hand. So this is what it looks like when it's break down. I just put it in this basket along with this Linen Social mat. And it's worked great for us so far. So these are definitely something that we use on a daily basis. We probably didn't start using this play gem until a couple weeks ago, because when he was a newborn, he just wasn't showing any interest in that. But this has been great from day one because I've changed him on it. It's really soft, so it's comfortable and squishy, so he loves it. So lastly in this category, I just want to mention the baby. I never know if it's Baby Bjorn or Baby Bjorn. I don't know. But basically the bouncer. I love this. Eventually you're going to need to put your baby down for you and your husband to eat. Maybe your baby is just going to like it if they're feeling fussy and want to take a nap in it. And there's all sorts of levels for newborns. It's basically laying down, and then it can gradually be adjusted upwards. But I think this is definitely something that should be on your essential list because at some point you're going to have to put your baby down. And you're going to want to put them somewhere safe and somewhere that you might be able to soothe them as well. So that I would definitely recommend, and it's definitely on my essential list. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about health items for them. So poor Duke has been sick 4 times in the 3 months he's been alive. It's just that type of year. Everyone I know is sick and keeps getting sick. And even though we hunker down in our house and try not to expose him to anything, here we are on our fourth cold. He's still congested, if you can probably hear. But a lifesaver for us has been this Frida booger sucker. When you have a newborn, they can only breathe through their nose. So if they're congested, that's obviously really difficult for them, and it can be really scary for the parent as well. We hated it when he was congested. And so that helps so much. And I think it's better to have that on hand just in case. It's not that expensive. Another item I would recommend is the Frida 3-in-1 thermometer. When they're babies, you're supposed to take their temperature, or in newborns, I should say, you're supposed to take their temperature through their rectum. But this also has two other options as well. You can take their thermometer through their armpit, but we had this like cheapo thermometer that we got at a CVS, and it was reading his temperature when he was sick at 90 degrees, which means he's dead. So when he had a fever, or what we felt like was a fever, and we couldn't take his proper temperature, that just really sucked. So I would recommend having that on hand before your baby comes. And then last thing is some form of infant Tylenol. So when he was sick and he had a fever, we went all over our county and even outside of our county to try to find infant Tylenol or some kind of off-brand of it. We couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't available online. Babies can't take, or newborns can't take Motrin. They can only take this very specific type of fever reducer. And we couldn't find it anywhere. So that was really scary. But eventually, after weeks of looking, we found one box of this brand called Genexa, which I actually love. They're a clean medicine brand, and you can order them online. But the place we found it said that people just would come in and take scoopfuls of infant Tylenol off the shelf and hoard it, which is horrible. So if you do end up finding infant Tylenol somewhere, please just take one and think of all of the other moms who have sick babies and really need something to bring their fever down. But like I said, the great thing about Genexa is you can order it online. So I will link that here as well. So I'm really not going to mention or say much about clothing because I think, to each his own, and depending on what season your baby is born in, there's going to be different opinions and different things you want to buy. But one thing I will say is, I mentioned it earlier, but towards the end of my pregnancy, I was like freaking out that I didn't have enough soft things to put him in. There was some kind of scratchy cotton blends that I got that I'm like, I'm not putting a newborn with fresh skin in this. I just couldn't imagine it. So I wanted things that were like made of bamboo or just some kind of soft cotton material. And I found these zipper pajamas online that are definitely a Kite Baby dupe. So this is the pajamas that I found online. They are half the price of Kite Baby, and they come in packs of 2. This is all we put him in at night. They have zippers that go 2 ways at the feet and at the neck. And this is a Kite Baby, and they are exactly the same. I gave the Kite Baby, and then I gave this one to my husband and had him try to guess which one was which, and he couldn't tell the difference between the two. So I highly recommend those. They're called Hapu, I think. I found them on Amazon. They come in a 2-pack. It's all we use. Okay, as far as travel, I don't really know what else to label this category, but I wanted to talk a little bit about wraps. Like I said, I have him kind of wonky in this and he's waking up, because he was asleep and I had to put him in and I didn't do a really great job. But I love this Mama, etc. Australian brand wrap. It's an amazing combination between classic fabric baby wraps and like a Baby Bjorn clip-in, more structured wrap. I never liked putting him as a newborn in one of those. And then I did like the fabric wraps, but I just felt like after 30 minutes of him being in one of them, he would like be sagging at my knees. No matter how tight I did it, no matter how many tutorials I would watch. And this is just a great in between. I feel like I have so much support, and I feel like it's soft enough for him to be in it. Hi, little man. And it works really well for now. And I know that this can go up to even when they're toddlers, he can be front facing in it. So this is definitely something I've recommended to all new moms. You know, and you might want to have a couple different options for carriers, but this is something I put him in when he was 1 week old and we're still using now. So once you figure out how to, you know, cross the straps and everything, I could do it with my eyes closed. So my husband and I are going to Europe with our family this summer, and we wanted to get a car seat that was both really light and also one that didn't need a base to install, because we're going to be traveling in cars and we didn't want to have to travel with a base. We wanted to be able to install our car seat with a seat belt. So we got the Pippa RX light car seat by Nuna, and it is the best. It is so light, and that's definitely something you want because your baby's only going to get heavier. And this is just a great option because being able to install it with just a seatbelt is such a convenience. I've already used it in carpool situations, and I would highly, highly recommend that car seat. Okay, I had to leave his nursery because I felt like it was getting a little dark in there. But I wanted to have a miscellaneous section for weird tips and tricks that I don't think are necessarily going to be on your registry. But one thing I love that my mom did for me for my baby shower was suggest a diaper raffle. And essentially it's when all your guests bring you different diapers in different sizes. And what it allows you to do is just try a ton of different diapers in different sizes, because what works for one baby isn't going to work for another baby. And I think it's great too because you don't have to spend a ton of money trying on all these different types of diapers and figuring out what is going to work for you and your family. Another kind of weird suggestion that I have is trying to hang some mirrors in your house, because it is so nice when you're trying to put your baby to sleep and you're rocking them and you want to just see if they're still awake. It's okay. It's so much nicer than having to like crane your neck to see if they're awake. And you could just do like a quick one of these instead, looking in a mirror. So kind of a weird hack. Okay, I needed to do a quick feeding. I don't know. This might be really weird to some people, but I think it is kind of underrated and very helpful. So having a mirror in every room, is that too much to suggest? I don't know. I think it's great. This is my cat, Coco. Okay, and then lastly, I have to do this really strange angle because I am feeding Duke and I need one of my hands. But instead of just having your diaper bag, I like having a bag that's going to be able to fit your diapers and wipes and maybe a swaddle or your changing pad, because sometimes you don't want to bring in your entire diaper bag if you're just going to a restaurant and you know that you're not going to be using a million diapers and a million other things. So I love this Baggu Crescent bag, and it fits so much, from diapers, wipes, etc. And it's just so helpful when you don't want to bring in your whole diaper bag. And honestly, my husband uses it too. We've nicknamed it the dad swag bag because he wears it as well. So I just think it's super helpful to have another option that's not just like this big backpack you're toting around with your kid all the time. So that's my miscellaneous section. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna have to go feed this little man, but I hope you found this helpful in some way, or if it's just my future self watching this back to remember what having a newborn is like, that's totally fine as well. But if anyone has any questions, like I said, or wants to see something in more detail, leave a comment and I'd be happy to get to it when I can. But great to meet you, and I hope to see you again.